Hey guys, welcome back to Lavenderpolish. Today we are going to be doing some butterfly nails. Now these were super popular a few years ago, but I haven't seen them in a long time, so I think we should bring them back. Alright, let's get into it. We're starting out with Essie's Lilacism, which is pretty much my favorite color in the entire world, all in a bottle. It is pretty thin on the first coat, unfortunately, but it is so pretty that I'm okay with it. Essie wins my heart over with this one. And as you can see, after the second coat, it is looking much more opaque. I did flood my cuticle, but we'll just brush right past that. Anyways, around your nails, apply any sort of liquid latex you want. I'm using Simply Peel by Bliss Kiss. This is going to help a lot with cleanup later on because it's basically going to make it so that the nail polish doesn't get all over your cuticles, which is very annoying to have to deal with, so don't worry, we got you. Now the next step is to do a diagonal gradient. I am once again using Essie's Lilacism along with Royal Hue by Sally Hansen and Choose Happiness by Color Club, which I actually just watched in my last video, so go check that out if you wouldn't mind. I'm applying those directly onto a makeup sponge, making sure that they overlap just the tiniest bit to help with blending when I'm putting it onto my nail. Now because we're going for a diagonal gradient rather than a horizontal one, I'm going to make sure to turn the sponge to the side a little bit so that it comes off with the colors going from one corner to the other rather than from the tip to the base. Just like this. Alright. And I'm completely blocking the camera as I dabbed on, but I trust that you know how to do a gradient yourself by now, so real quick, sponge that on. I actually only have to do 1 or 2 coats of this to get to full opacity. These are actually all really good sponging polishes, so I got pretty lucky there. I wanted to spice it up a little bit, so I'm taking Holo Aurora Unicorn Skin and putting 1 coat over the entire thing. This polish is made of iridescent flakies that mainly shift between blues and pinks, so I thought it was absolutely perfect for this design. God, I love unicorn skins. They're stunning. Looking amazing. Oh my gosh, it looks so cool. Now, at this point, put on a top coat. I didn't do that. You're about to see why that's a terrible idea. So for the love of God, if you're doing this along with me, put on a top coat right now. Please. Anyways, right now we are going to take out some acrylic paint. This is just any old acrylic paint. I got mine from some craft store years ago. And I'm taking this small brush from Twinkle Tea. The reason that acrylic paint is really good is because 1, it goes on nice and smooth, and 2, it's much easier to fix your mistakes, which you'll see in a moment. Now taking the brush and the acrylic paint, I'm going to outline my entire nail with a medium thick line. Don't worry if it's a little bit sheer, acrylic paint usually is, but if you go over it once or twice, it'll be beautiful. Once I have the basic outline, what I'm doing is trying to match the bottom corners to the top corners, because as you can see, the base of my nail is circular, like the cuticle, but the tips of my nail are this kind of hard square edge. So I wanted to round out the bottom squares, making it a bit more of a squiggle shape. That way it is just much more nice and uniform all the way around and looks much more airy and beautiful, just like a little fairy butterfly wing should be. Now, here's the part where I was getting all cocky because I didn't realize that I'd made a mistake at this point. So I was gonna say, take a look at this. Ooh. If you make a mistake when you're using acrylic paint, it's perfect because you can just go in with any sort of sharp tool and scrape off the mistake. And here's me trying to scrape off the mistake where it's a bit too lumpy at the bottom and realizing that I cannot because I did not add a top coat. And this is the part where I started kicking myself because you need to use a top coat in order to be able to scratch off the acrylic paint and fix any mistakes that you make using it. I got really lucky that I did a pretty good job outlining my entire nail, but here's me applying a top coat in defeat so that I can do the next parts with much more confidence in myself. The next step is to go in with the same brush and create a little quarter circle up in the corner. And here I get to finally actually go in with the scraper tool and scrape off any imperfections to it. Next up, I'm taking a striping brush, also from Twinkle Tea, and the same good old acrylic paint. And I'm going to create the sort of outlines of the butterfly pattern. This basically consists of drawing a lot of long lines down my nails and flicking them at the corner to start to create the little circle that appears at the end. This can be rough, it's okay, remember it is acrylic paint, and if you put on a top coat, you will be able to scrape it off if you mess up. So just take your time, go through it, don't be afraid to get into really weird hand positions like posing like this and like this. Don't try to do your nails like this the way I have to do to record it. You know, really get up in there to make sure that you're doing it properly. Once I had a good outline, I started to go in a bit further and thicken up the lines a little bit, make them a lot darker, and really just solidify in the exact shape that I wanted. And by the way, with freehand, I know that sometimes when you're watching the videos, it can look really simple because, you know, you're just seeing these like tiny 10-second snapshots of what was really a very long process. This nail was the last that I did out of 5, and I still had to redo it like 3 different times, just scraping everything off and completely restarting, because freehand nail art is hard. I don't know how proper freehand artists do it. Like, this is one of the most simple freehand designs that you can do, and I struggled. Oh my god, I struggled. If you have any friends who do freehand, or if you do freehand yourself, you're a god to me. I will worship you. Anyways, once the outline was all nice and perfect, I went in with a thicker brush and filled in the bottom with solid black. Now the final step of the butterfly nail art is to put these little white dots on the bottom of the nail with blackets. But I wanted to do them holographic spots just to sort of add in with the sort of ethereal vibe that this nail art was giving me. So I'm starting out with some white spots to make the holo a bit lighter afterwards. So I'm just sort of going in. I probably should have looked at a reference for this, but to be honest, I didn't feel like it. So I'm just going in, putting spots wherever I want to, making sure that I'm varying the thickness and space so it doesn't look too uniform. As you can see here as I write them out, I'm using Wisteria and Sweet Pea by Lavenderpolish. And even though with holos you're supposed to put them over black to get their true color, you can get a much more pastel version of it by putting it over white. So that's what I'm doing for this design. I went in with Sweet Pea first, and I filled in pretty much every other white spot just to get some nice variety in there. And then I went in with Wisteria right afterwards. Last but not least, I added a lovely thick glossy top coat. I'm using one from Sally Hansen. It's a little bit on the thinner side, but it gets the job done and it dries quite nicely. And this is what I thought was going to be the final result, but if I can be totally honest, I kind of ended up really disliking the holo spots. I felt like it really clashed with the rest of the design. The yellow just didn't show up anywhere else, and the purple really didn't either, at least not to the degree that I was hoping it would. So I'm actually going in with Lavenderpolish Vanish, and I went over all the spots in the new color, and I think it looks so much better if I'm being honest. I think it really brought these nails up a notch. But we're not done yet. I went one step further and I added a matte top coat because you know you gotta matte all the iridescent flakies that you can find. It makes them look so stunning. They're a bit more subtle, but in the light they just bounce. Ooh. Oh, it looks so good. Oh, I'm so happy with how these turned out. Oh my gosh. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. Please let me know what you thought of this design. Do you like butterfly nails? I feel like they had a bit more of a fairy nail vibe. I don't know. But I'd love to hear your feedback, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!